Hello and welcome back to the channel. We've got something a little bit different today. So I've just finished wrapping up recording the Lockdown Challenge Part 1 on Championship Manager 97-1998. I'm not sure where this is going to be released in relation to the culmination of that series. Possibly before, most likely before, because of the content involved. It's to do with management. And as we all know, managerial merry-go-round and sackings and all that is changing all the time. So this could literally be out of date already, some of it, by the time I've researched it and written it all down. So yeah, today we've got a where are they, or where were they then rather. So it's a look back at Championship Manager 97-1998, and we're going to look at current managers around the world, predominantly where they are or where they were in 97-1998 in this game. Who's still, a couple of players as well. And this was an episode or a video I had an idea of a few months ago. Literally, as I was starting to do the research and putting everything down in paper, Dave from CM9798, the great blogs online, he actually did it already, and he did it for the Premier League. So we're expanding that. We're going around all the leagues that what we can think of and players that I can think of. There may be some omissions, so if you do think of any, drop them down in the comments always. While you're there, if you do want to hit a like on the video, that'd be great, and sub to the channel if you are new as well. Lots of retro sort of Championship Manager content in the pipeline. There will be a new save starting soon. I'm still working on what that's going to be, but let's just sort of get into it really. So the first manager we're going to look at is Hipster's Choice. Let's see if you can work that out. So we're going to start with the Premier League. There will be a little bit of hip hopping about because I've had to open 3 different save files to cover all the 9 leagues, I think, off the top of my head. So there will be a bit of hopping about just to look at the different leagues. But we'll go to, I don't know why I didn't write his name. I just wrote his first name, but Graham Potter is the first one. And on here he is a left back / midfielder at West Brom. Obviously he would in real life play for Southampton in the Premier League as well. In fact, he has played for Southampton in the Premier League. And the only reason I remember that is, do you remember those cards where they're like caricatures of the Premier League footballers? I remember I found them at my mum and dad's a few months ago. I've put them back. I should have brought them home. And Graham Potter was in there. And to be honest, I don't remember him as a player at all. The first I really remember of him was when he popped up, was it Österlunds in Sweden, taking on my Arsenal team. I'm pretty sure that's where I saw him first. And obviously he came over to Swansea after building his name in Sweden. And then obviously he would get the move to Brighton as well. I'm just moving my notes around because they're just a little bit off screen, so I don't know if something's just popped into the recording window there. But yeah, that's Graham Potter. So yeah, he's at West Brom. Never used him in the game. He's got some okay attributes. Pace is a little bit on the slack side, but good tackling. What else? He's got good passing. Positioning's a little bit of a worry. Some good determination though, so he could actually be a decent. He's got a big club release clause at the start. Yes, so that's the first one. Brighton manager Graham Potter. Next up is the gravelly voiced, gravelly dulcet tones, Sean Dyche. Now, I've never, again, not a player I've ever managed on. In fact, I need to adjust my notes again because for some reason the margin is stopping the notes from being read. So here he's at Bristol City. He was part of the, I believe, I was going to say actually, yeah, I never managed him on this game, but I did manage him on Player Manager on PS1 a few times. I used to snap him up, I think, from Chesterfield. It would have been about that sort of time, yeah. And that's where they've signed him from this season. So he's, again, a right back, left back, right midfield, left midfield. What's he got? What's he got that's good? Good, decent determination, decent dribbling. 16 flair, bizarrely. 4 heading. Not much influence for a good manager. Injury prone. Good pace, good adaptability. Aggression, I'm sure, would be higher than that actually if they knew him. Position is 16, and yes, strength 15, technique 8. But yeah, decent player. He was part of that Chesterfield team that got to the FA Cup semi-final. They lost to Borough, didn't they? And then Borough lost to obviously Chelsea with a Di Matteo strike in like 30 seconds or 40 seconds or something. And that'd be the year before this game. Obviously, he went on to have stints at Watford, and I think he also had coaching stints at Watford as well. But now he's a very good, solid manager at Burnley, where he's continuing to work miracles, and looks like he's probably going to keep him up again this season if Weghorst can. Looks like he's much better than Chris Wood already, doesn't it? So yeah, that's the next one. Now we got up next is probably one of my favourite. In fact, we'll just go straight to Arsenal. You're probably guess who I'm going for here? And it is Patrick Vieira. So yeah, one of my favourite Arsenal players. Never been replaced at Arsenal in terms of both ability and his leadership that he brought to the dressing room. In reality, in this 97-98 game, he would be leading. Well, he wouldn't be leading the team because Tony Adams is still there as captain, but he'd be winning the double with Arsenal. And then he'd also be going on to win the World Cup in '98 as well with France versus Brazil. I think he scored not the winning goal because it was, but I think he scored like the last goal. I think it was like, I can't remember what the score was. I remember that tournament very well. Was it 3-1? Did he score the first? Because I think Zidane got 2, and I think they were both headers, if I remember correctly, from corners. And I think he got the third one. He was played through by Petit, wasn't he? But no other word than legend here. But yeah, great ability. Defensive midfielder. On the earlier game, I think the season before this, he's a midfielder left. It's really disappointing. But yeah, good attributes. Decent pace, good off the ball, influence. If aggression 5, I mean, really? Did they ever see him play? Creativity 18. So he's a defensive midfielder, but he seems a bit more like a playmaker on the game, really. 16 passing, positioning 13, tackling 13. I mean, yeah, I'd guess the game after this, he's probably maxed out a bit more. But yeah, Patrick Vieira, Crystal Palace manager. Good to see him back in the Premier League. Love Paddy Vieira, and hopefully maybe one day an Arsenal player in his own right. In fact, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go to squad view because this might be the easiest way to get around. The next one is, it's all changed a little bit. So a lot of my research, like I said, I did this a few months ago. I've had to rejig a lot of it because there's been so many movements in that space of time. He was actually at Chelsea on my notes. He's obviously now Everton manager. Chelsea legend, of course. Looked to follow that up as boss, but following a good stint at Derby in the Championship, did well with them. Just missed out. I think did he lose in the playoffs? I think. But this, however, didn't go to plan at Chelsea. He had an okay sort of time. He got replaced by Thomas Tuchel, who obviously went on in that season. He was replaced to win the Champions League. He's got a chance to work on his reputation with Everton again this season, but it won't be easy. They're a tough, bit of a poison chalice team, really. They've got a bit of money now, but they haven't really invested it that wisely. And yeah, they're faltering more down the lower end and looking at survival more than sort of pushing on for a European spot or anything like that. But, at the start of his career, he's a West Ham player. Obviously, I remember that interview with Harry Redknapp bigging him up because the West Ham, it was like a fan forum thing. West Ham fans were giving him some crap, and Harry Redknapp was there to sort of defend him. I mean, of course he's going to. Wasn't he like his uncle or something, or godfather or something? Cousins with Jamie Redknapp and all that, I think, isn't it? So, yeah, a little bit naughty, but yeah. And what other leagues have I got open here? So I can't look at my next one, so I'm going to quickly just highlight him as the one I need to go to on one of the other leagues. In fact, I'm going to pause a second because I should know. I'm not going to pause. I'm going to plough through. So up next, we've got, where are we? Where are we going? We're going over to Bournemouth. One of the few players in here that are quite good. Eddie Howe. He's decent at this level. So when the money rolled into Newcastle, a lot of people were probably expecting a big raft of big new names to come in and a big appointment in the top job. So far, though, he has got them out of trouble. They're playing quite decent football. They're quite good to watch in some respects. Obviously, being led by an ex-Arsenal player, Joe Willock, as well. He's coming back into form again. He looks very good, grabbing goals from midfield. He will be going into my FPL team very soon. Side note, if FPL stuff is something you want me to look at, I'm not very good. I mean, I say I'm not very good. I'm okay. I'm not near, I'm not threatening the top sort of 100k players, but I'm not down in the doldrums either. I'm kind of middling. Always losing in my local league. My mate smashes it every year, and he just seems to always get the stroke luck. But if you want to see me do some FPL stuff, my thought processes and stuff like that, I might do that as a series down the line. But yeah, will Eddie Howe be the man to take forward Newcastle long term? Probably not. Will they replace him in the summer? I think they'll give him another year. If he keeps them up and he does quite well, I think they'll give him another year, give him a window, bring some of his players in. I think he'll keep the job for a little while. But in 1997, he played for Bournemouth. Obviously, he'd eventually go on to manage Bournemouth, taking him up the leagues all the way to Premier League, I think from the 3rd Division. Where are they sort of here? Division 2 here, so there's a little bit of lower league stuff going on with them. But yeah, they came up, and then he got sacked just as they went down. Has been out of work since then, and Bournemouth have not yet managed to get back up. Might be this year that they do, but we'll wait and see. we're going to take a little trip over to Leyton Orient now, and it's not to see the legend Bjorn Hodgson, who is transfer listed. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. They do transfer list him quite a lot, but we're not here to see Bjorn Hodgson. We are here to see, who are we looking for? Dean Smith. So in 97, he's obviously, like we said, a teammate of. I'm trying to get over to my notes again because I'm just off the page. Why is it not letting me go across? What's going on? There we go. So he is a teammate of Bjorn Hodgson. He's got some pretty solid attributes. I mean, Leyton Orient do have some decent players. They're a good team if you want to start at this level. And his coaching rep would largely be built. I mean, it's probably more. I think he managed at Walsall, but I remember him more from Brentford, obviously popular club for sort of trendy football, trendy coaches, trendy way of doing things. Before he got his move to Villa, a couple of good seasons there. The last season, or this season, didn't quite go to plan. Obviously, Jack Grealish getting sold didn't help. What he showed, he did sort of carry that team quite a lot. I didn't believe it at the time. I thought he wasn't actually that good, and Man City's actually proven he's not too amazing. I'm surprised Man City signed him and didn't sign a striker like Harry Kane or something, in all honesty. But he's now got a job on to try and keep Norwich up. He's obviously now at Norwich. No mean feat. Bit of a yo-yo team, in all honesty. He'll probably be looking at relegation this year. I don't think they're going to stay up. Try and get them up first time next year and then see what he can do. Try and build his own sort of team and then see what he can do next year. I think that's what he needs to do. So the next one is already a manager in the game. So we're not going to be able to see too much. But Roy Hodgson, there's no detail here at all. I did actually have the pleasure of meeting Roy when he was England manager. The job I was working at the time had an interest, which I didn't realise. He was living in the same, I'm going to say estate, it was quite a posh estate, not really an estate, but my firm, and I had to go and do viewings and stuff, and I was waiting for a client, to do this viewing, do the show around, and Roy just comes walking out one of the buildings where I'm waiting I think it was near the reception or near the entrance anyway, and he just sort of bowls out nonchalantly, and I'm like, oh, Roy Hodgson's here, and there's a few famous people who used to live, I bumped into quite a few people there, in and around that area. It was sort of Kingston, Hampton Wick area. Quite swanky, quite nice. A little harbour out the front as well on the river. I'm sure he had the flashy penthouse at the top, which my firm didn't. But yeah, absolute gentleman. Took the time to say hello, shook me hand. I think I got a photo. I've got it somewhere, probably on one of my old phones or on a hard drive somewhere. I find Roy is one of these managers. He tends to work better at the smaller clubs and jobs. This Blackburn job would attest to that. Obviously also Liverpool, England, they weren't quite successes. He did also have stints at Inter Milan, which would maybe throw that into question, but Inter Milan weren't the biggest team really at the time. Obviously they'd had Ronaldo come through and they had some good players, but they weren't ever threatening the title. What was that, 96, 97ish, just before Blackburn, he was their manager, and they weren't really challenging for much. Various jobs across Europe, particularly in Scandinavia. Obviously, a few international jobs as well. He's manager of Switzerland at World Cup 94. And a fact I also wasn't aware of until I was researching him, he actually turned out for my local team, the non-league team Carl Shulton Athletic, who I did a save on Football Manager with a few years ago. Yeah, I think he was a left-back for them or something. I mean, this is going back to the 70s or something, so towards the end of his career. So yeah, that was a nice little fun fact. So I wish him well at, it's Watford, isn't it? I'll check my notes, yeah. I wish him well at Watford. He's done quite well so far, to be fair. He stopped the goals going in, but the sacrifice has been that the goals aren't really going in either, so he needs to maybe strike a bit more of a balance, and if he does that he might have a chance of staying up. But there's a lot of teams, Norwich have had a bit of an upturn under Dean Smith, not hugely but a bit. Newcastle obviously upturned, Burnley have upturned. There's a lot of teams now, there's not many spots for relegation, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. We've got up next, I believe he's at Preston North End. He is Englishman David Moyes. I don't know why this proud Scot is English on this game. Some sort of researcher obviously got that very wrong. But, hey ho. He applied to tried at Preston, where he'd eventually gone on to become their manager. And then from his success there, he took a long stint at Everton. Sort of decent. He turned them from a relegation candidate to European candidates. Got them in the Champions League once. I obviously got scuppered by Liverpool winning that, which led to a rule change in the qualification purposes. He would be the chosen one at Man United, which wouldn't work, replacing Alex Ferguson. I mean, I don't know who would have replaced Alex Ferguson, and no one really has since sort of replicated that success. Maybe some of the jobs haven't got... He's had a few other jobs as well, Sunderland, springs to mind. Sociedad was it, I think. Haven't quite gone to plan, but so far he's doing a tremendous job at West Ham. And yeah, here he's a very good centre-back. Bit slow. Obviously he's 34, so I mean you expect that, but he's pretty decent at this level. 13k, I mean you can't go too wrong. Heading 20, influence 14. Some decent attributes there for a centre-back. Positioning 14, yeah, decent attributes for a centre-back. And quite cheap on the pickup as well. So I didn't know he played for Shrewsbury. Didn't know, I mean obviously, it goes back further. Celtic, I remember Celtic. I didn't know he played for Cambridge and Bristol and all that in between. But yep, so that is David Moyes. So my notes do skip over onto Germany now, but I haven't got Germany loaded on this one. I've got Italy and Spain. So I'm just going to have a quick pause just to adjust my notes. 1 second. Okay, we can hop over to the Spanish league now. And we're going to be, our first spot is at Barcelona. Surprise, surprise, it's Pep Guardiola, Manchester City manager. I mean, what else can I really say about this man that hasn't been said by experts all over the world and pundits all over the world and everything? He played for some great Barcelona teams managed by Johan Cruyff. Obviously then went on to manage possibly the greatest club side of all time, the greatest Barcelona side of all time, in the sort of late noughties, taking over from Frank Rijkaard. Revolutionised that team, got so much more out of Messi. I mean, he was doing well already, but he got the most out of him. Very good defensive midfielder on this game. Pretty much everything you want. He's got good passing, good tackling, good creativity. Very good. I don't know if I've ever actually picked him up myself. Did I do a Barcelona save? I need to look at some of these players. I don't think I have. I remember on this game, my mate always used to tell me that Pizzi was amazing. Not seen it on any of my saves, and it was always about trying to pick him up. But yeah, obviously they've got a lot of other good players as well. Enrique has been a manager in his own right. He's not actually on my notes. He's one I've missed out, so we'll quickly talk about him now. But obviously, is he Spain manager? In fact, maybe he is on my notes. We'll come back to him. Is he Spain manager? He might be. We'll come back to him later. But yeah, so Pep Guardiola went on to manage Bayern Munich as well. Now at Man City, has won everything bar the Champions League with them. But he's won everything in his career. What will his next move be? Probably international management, would be my guess. Try and win a World Cup, try and win a Euros, something like that. I'm not too sure. Obviously can't spend the hundreds and hundreds of millions in that role, but then you also have the pick of a country's best players. So, you don't necessarily need to do that. That would be it for the Spanish League, as far as I'm aware. We've now got, let's have a quick look. We've got to go over to the Italian League. My notes are all jumbled. I didn't do the leagues based on the order I've written on my Word document, so that's a bit shocking. But our next stop is going to be over at Juventus. Again, another one I had to change my notes for on this one. In fact, I think it's changed a few times this season, or since I wrote it. But it's Antonio Conte, centre midfielder. I think he's a winger on one of the games, or am I thinking of someone else entirely different? But it's another job in England for Conte, which is quite an impressive comeback. I'm not sure what's more impressive, a comeback, his managerial revival or his hairline. But joking aside, in the style of Frank Lampard, a fantastic manager who I did actually want to take over at Arsenal when he was available. Didn't happen. He's gone to Spurs and it's a bit Spursy, not quite working out. I mean, he might even be gone by the time this uploads. They've just lost in the FA Cup to Borough. He's been talking all the last week or two about not being the right job for him and him not being the right man for the job. But he had a great career at Juventus in the 90s. They practically won everything in that period. Some great players sort of passing through the club as well. They won a few leagues. They won a Champions League. I think they beat Ajax in the final, I think in 96, I think it was. 'Cause Ajax won in 95 and then lost in the final, I believe. But yeah, very good, solid player. Good passing, good tackling, good all-round attributes, really. And I think on my lockdown save, I think he went to Barcelona, but then I think he got like a 12-month injury or something. So we didn't really see much of him while we were there because we didn't come against him. So yeah, so that wraps up the bits I can do on this file. So I'm going to have to jump over to one now. So I'm just going to quickly pause, and I mean, it won't be nothing to you, but I'll be back with one of the other leagues. See you shortly. Okay, we're back. You might see a little bit of shift in some of the imaging. It's because I've had to open the game window, and the recording software I use records a window to record this game, so it doesn't track it for some reason. I'm not too sure why, but we're back, and we've got Germany. Germany, Portugal, and Belgium open now, which I think are probably the next ones I had written down missed. So the first one we're going to go to is I think he's a manager. And where are they? I can't see them. Have they got something else in the name? I'm looking for Ulm, but I don't know if they've got. Maybe they're not. Are they not on the game? I thought I found them on the game. Let's have a look at the league table. Have I just completely... Let's have a look, see if we can do a search on club. I'm pretty sure he's on the game. I'm pretty sure I found him. There we go. Ulm. So they're a non-league German team. That's possibly why they're not showing. Okay. So their manager, it says unknown, but it was Ralf Rangnick. So obviously currently Man United manager, the so-called messiah of Man United. He found himself at Ulm in 1997. See, he's this so-called messiah, but really he's more of a director of football than a manager. His managerial career, from what I've read, is pretty uninspiring. He's had a few sort of stints, really. Part of the Red Bull model, I think, as well. But at the end of this season, he will move upstairs into that kind of director of football kind of role, I guess it would be. Don't know exactly. And he will be the one that will be appointing his replacement. So, bated breath to see who that's going to be. But there's a few sort of floating around. Pochettino, who obviously will feature in this video at some point. Yeah, I don't really know. And to be honest, it's Man United, so I don't really care. But it's quite funny seeing them stutter. I mean, as much as they probably laugh at us struggling for the last 10 years, it's their turn now. So, yeah. But anyway, on to the next one. As Jay-Z would say, we come to Liers. And yeah, he is there. I was about to say, I know he's on here, but I couldn't see him. But it's because I was looking at his name. So it's Ralf Hasenhüttl. Hasenhüttl? I have no idea how you pronounce it. I can never pronounce his name. I always get it wrong. Maybe I've even said it right. I don't know. But in 97, he can be found in Liers, Belgian League. Yeah. Decent attributes though. I haven't used him myself to know if he's any decent or any good, but he's doing a good job at manager Southampton. If you can get a good bit of backing, which they've got new ownership now, so it's quite possible. He could push Southampton on that a little bit more, maybe towards the European spots or certainly higher mid-table, that sort of thing. Back where they were a good few years ago before the last lot of owners come in and just started asset stripping basically and selling everything off. But he's got not a lot of pace, not a lot of off the ball, 20 heading, which is very good, 10 positioning, 14 shooting, good strength. I mean, it sounds like he might be a bit of a, in using football manager terminology, a bit of a target forward on attack maybe. Actually, no, maybe not on attack because his pace is quite low. I don't know if that's relevant or not, but he's got 8 caps for Austria, 0 goals. He's not on the cheap side for a 29-year-old, and there's a few other good Austrian, Perk comes to mind, good strikers I'd go for over him. Might cost a bit more, but you'd get more out of him. But yeah, if you're manager of Liers, he might be worth keeping around for a little bit longer. They're not blessed with amazing talent there, I don't think. I mean, I don't recognise many of them, but then I wasn't too au fait with the Belgian League before reading one of the blogs on Dave's blog site. I can't remember who it was who did it, but he did a lot of Belgian stuff, and I really enjoyed it. He did all the Belgian regens and stuff and got them all trying to win European competitions, that sort of stuff. But anyway, Ralf Hasenhüttl, that's Southampton manager, and I've just slaughtered his name again. But yeah, that's him. So I think, oh no, we've got one more who I'm sure I looked for, but I can't remember if I did actually look for him properly on the editor. I might be getting this completely wrong. He might have even been a manager at this point. I don't think he was. I think he was more of a player. I don't think he's old enough to have been a manager in 97. Bruno Lage for Wolves, but I don't think he is. No. He's not in the game. Okay, never mind. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to quickly flip back to another file while we go back and look at sort of other things. Actually, no, we'll have a look here, see if any of these are on the foreign leagues. I'm just looking at my notes. Okay, we've got one more. So what we're going to look now, we're going to look at lower league in England, so Championship or Division 1, 2 and 3, as it was back in those days. So the first one is current... Actually, we're going to, before we say who he is, let's go see if we can find him. Here he is, Marco Silva, dynamic right back. Obviously, current Fulham manager, found at Belenenses. Here he is, 97, best known obviously for his stints at Hull, Watford, Everton. He's now leading the charge to Premiership with Fulham, largely based on the back of Mitrovic's goals. He's broken the record for goals already, and we're only in March. Well, in fact, that was in February. And he's still got like a third, was it like they say like a quarter of the season to go or something in terms of games left to absolutely smash it out the park. But yeah, good fullback, some good attributes there. A 20-year-old as well, quite young. Got some stuff that would need working on. How much is he? 6k. I mean, you can't go too wrong with that, particularly if you're in Portugal. Yeah, so not too bad. Jared Leto there. It's not, it's Jose Leto. But we're going to flip back, to one of the other leagues and one of the other saves and look at some of the players again in there. So bear with me one moment. Okay, we're back. And obviously, as you can tell, as I've mentioned, we're looking at the rest of England sort of down below. So a lot of these are just based in England, as you would probably expect. We're going to kill two birds with one stone now. We're going to take a look at... Have I gone to the wrong save file? I'm pretty sure I haven't. No, there they are. Leeds United. So the first one we're going to look at is... In fact, is he here? Yes, he is. Lee Bowyer, current Birmingham City manager. Great player in his day. Starting at Charlton. Was linked with Arsenal. Very much wanted him to join Arsenal. Went to Leeds, which was a little bit out of nowhere at the time. But Leeds did obviously go on to become a very good young team before having financial meltdown and going completely down the other way. Spells at Newcastle, West Ham. Probably as much known for his playing as for his fighting with teammates. But now at Birmingham City, he's had another... Did he manage Charlton? I think he went from Charlton to Birmingham. So he left his sort of boyhood club to go to Birmingham, which was a bit strange when it happened. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I'm pretty sure I remember it that way. But yeah, Lee Bowyer. We're just going to try and fly through these ones a little bit as much as possible. Oh, we said we wanted to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, we're going to try and fly through these as much as possible, I think. So next up is Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Burton Albion manager. I think he was manager of them. I've got sacked or left. Did he go to... Is he another one that went to Birmingham? I can't remember. He went somewhere. Didn't quite work out. Has gone back to Burton. But great striker for Leeds. Stints also for Atletico Madrid. He was top scorer there for one season. Went back to England with Chelsea. Was very good for them. I think he was just before the Abramovich era. Maybe just after. I'm not too sure. But I think he was just before he was there. Banged in the goals. Lethal power on his shot. Absolutely lethal. On this game, he's not the best. He's okay, but I've never had the best joy with him. Maybe you have. I'm not too sure. But yeah, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It was the next one on the list. And for the next one, we're going to stick with the Championship. I don't think these are in a particular league order. They're not in like set in stone or anything. But the next one is Tony Mowbray. He's out for a month with fractured ribs. 33-year-old, coming towards the end of his career now. Current manager of Blackburn Rovers, of course. He had a decent, if not outstanding, management career. He's been around a few clubs. I'm trying to think of them. I think one of them was West Brom. No clubs that hasn't involved relegation, from what I recall. Now at Blackburn. Did he take them over to take them down? I think he's been at Blackburn. Another one has been gone and come back again. I'm not too sure. Doing okay this year. Obviously got the Chilean striker. Diaz, is it? Brereton Diaz. Banging the goals. I don't know if they're going to get promoted. Maybe look at a playoff place. Might be what they can do. But yeah, Tony Mowbray, not much to see there really. Now, I don't know where this guy is in the game. I've written down where he manages, but I haven't written down where he is. I think he's at Sheffield Wednesday. Is he at Sheffield Wednesday? No, he's not. Right, okay, we're going to have to do a player search on him. Oh, he's going to be at Borough. I'm going to go back. I'm nailing my flag to the mast. I think he's at Borough. Yes, he is. Nigel Pearson. So... He's known for being the manager, well, obviously he's had a lot of jobs, but known for manager who got Leicester to the Premier League, kept them up by the skin of their teeth before Ranieri took over the season after, stole the glory, winning the Premier League title. Now, don't get me wrong, they weren't winning the title under Pearson, let's be honest. But here he is, decent centre-back, good pace for a 33-year-old, good tackling, good positioning, good heading, determination's all right, aggression's good, adaptability. He's got some good attributes. Yeah, obviously coming again towards the end of his career here now. He's got that management job offer and release clause, so obviously looking at that already. That's why I went to Sheffield Wednesday, because I knew he played for him in the 90s, but I just forgot he went to Borough. Quite early, in fact. Okay. Didn't realise he was there quite that early. But yeah, that's him. Now, next man, again, I'm pretty... Oh, are they not actually in the game? I thought he was and they were. I'm pretty sure I came across him in the lockdown challenge, in fact, at one point. Did I look at maybe trying to sign him? He's not in the game. Okay, ignore me. I had Michael Duff for Cheltenham written down. Legendary right back from 0102. He's not here. So, yeah, let's skip on. Let's move to the next one. Maybe he just hasn't loaded, but Cheltenham aren't there. I'm pretty sure they're a league team in the 90s. Pretty sure they're a decent league team in the 90s. But we do need to go to the search again for this guy, because I think he's on a free transfer. So it's Mark Robbins. Oh, he's at Arents. Okay, he's at Arents in Norway. Is it Norway? I think it's Norway. So he's just gone there from Leicester, obviously Man United. He said that he's gone for Man United in the Cup. I think it was the FA Cup's, or League Cup final maybe. Kept Alex Ferguson in his job, which he obviously then went on to dominate England for 20 odd years. Mark Robbins, on the other hand, his career didn't go much further than that. He left Man United. He sort of didn't do too much in the 90s. Got to move to Norwich. Had one good year. I don't know if they were blighted by injuries, but the numbers of games, assuming these stats are correct, went down, and he went to Orense. I don't know what he did after. He's only 27. His management career hasn't done too much because I've not been aware of him doing too much. But he's doing good things with Coventry so far. I think he's got them into the Championship, or they're certainly in the Championship. Definitely miss them in the Premier. Used to love having the old Covey breaks on Soccer AM, and Darren Huckabee, Dion Dublin, Chipo Hadji. They had some great players in the 90s. Grizovic as well. I mean, it's sad to see a team like that slip as far as they have, but it is what it is. We're going to go back into the squad view for the next one. I'm pretty sure he's at Man United. In fact, there might be a few here now. The first one is Richie Wellins. So he's former Man United youth player. Another one with 0102 legendary status. Great centre midfielder on that game. Always snap him up. Always cheap from Blackpool, I think. You're always a star for me. Always him and Mark Kerr in midfield, banging. Not quite to the same level in 1997. Stats very low. He's a wide midfielder. If you ever managed Man United, he's probably someone you free up pretty early because they've got a full squad. Someone you get rid of. He didn't quite make it in real life. Now I'm pretty sure. I need to just refer to my notes because I'm pretty sure there's another Man United player in here. Maybe they're not quite at Man United. Sometimes some different youth players load as well, I think. It doesn't look like it. If there is, we're going to come back to him, so it doesn't matter. So who's next? We're going to go to... I think it's Leicester next. Is he here? I'm not seeing him. Where is he? I know what's going to happen. I'm assuming he's here, and I'm going to go... I'm sure he's at Leicester. Is he at Aston Villa already? Doesn't look to be, but I'm going to do a play search. Where is he at? I'm spending a lot of time on someone who really I don't need to waste too much time on. Simon Grace. I looked at Aston Villa. I didn't see him. He's on as a right back at Aston Villa. I'm pretty sure he was a midfielder, wasn't he? But playing for Leicester, he played for Leicester. He moved to Aston Villa somewhere in between here. He'd also, obviously, as we've seen, played for Villa before moving into management. I think he managed Leeds when they were sort of struggling down in sort of League One Championship. Did he manage Norwich or someone as well? Someone like that? I'm not too sure. I can't remember. There's a few clubs like that. Nothing too exciting, but he's now managing Fleetwood, so obviously his stock is rather lower than sort of Championship and Premier League now. So that's him. In terms of this guy, again, I don't know where he is. I think he's a manager. Rotherham was coming up as unknown. I'm pretty sure he's manager of Rotherham. But it's Steve Evans. I don't know much about him other than he was at Rotherham for years and years. Went to Leeds, but didn't work. He's at Gillingham now. Is he a player? I think he's too old to have been a player then. I think he was still a manager. Let's have a look. Yeah, he is, and I think he's Rotherham, but it's coming up as no info for some reason. But I think it's them. That would be him. And for the next one, I do need to stick here and hope he's in the file. Otherwise, I am going to have to load up one of the other leagues at the end. He's in the game. It's Shota Arveladze. Now, this one took me by complete surprise. I remember this guy from FIFA. I think it's Road to the World Cup in '98. I think Road to World Cup '98. I think I remember him. He was a good striker. I think he had good pace, or he was cheap. There was something about him. Georgian striker, part of the Georgian brigade in the 90s. With sort of his brother Archer Arveladze is quite good. He's quite good in this game as well. In actual fact, Georgie Kinkladze at Man City and Tamir Ketsbayer at Newcastle. But he's manager of Hull. The guy I had written down, I can't remember who it was now. I think he's gone to one of the other ones. He comes up in a minute, I think. But it's Shota Arveladze. Yeah, he's a great striker for Ajax in the 90s. Bit slow on this game, bit slow. Good off the ball though. Decent heading, good shooting. If you can live without the pace, he can do a job. Well, obviously, we'll take up a foreign spot if you're in one of those leagues. has to get a work permit, that sort of stuff. But yeah, Shota Arveladze. Yeah, I don't know much about his career after Ajax. I think he went back to Dynamo Tbilisi. In fact, in one of the early games, I think he's at Dynamo Tbilisi as a forward left. So yeah, we need to do a search for the next one, I think, and I don't know exactly where he is. Nope, I'm going to do a quick pause because I need to look him up. Right, apparently he was manager of Watford in 97, but it might have been ending last season. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure Graham Taylor's the manager. Yeah, he is. So is he out of... He's out of work at this point, so he's not even going to... He's possibly in the game, but I won't be able to find him. But yeah, it's Kenny Jackett, now manager of Leyton Orient. Don't know too much about his career. I think he's managed Millwall and things like that, but I'm not hugely aware of his career. Don't follow him. Did he manage Burnley as well? I can't remember. But yeah, that's... He's not here, so it doesn't really matter. We can't show him. So I don't know exactly where he is in the game. I've got a feeling he's at Preston. He is at Preston, so we could have cut him with David Moyes. But we got Michael Appleton, another Man United youth player. Try and get back into his screen. Forged a career away from Man United. Decent career, I think, if not amazing. Certainly not what it promised to be. Now manager of Lincoln, but in 1970 he was at Man United, but I think he went on loan to Preston, or he just signed for Preston maybe, on a permanent deal. I had a loan spell at Lincoln, who he's now managing, of course, so there is a link there. I think he's had jobs at like Blackburn, probably Leeds. They had most of these people, I think, at some point. But an okay young player, if not amazing again, but he's got some good pace, decent passing for a lower level, good positioning, good tackling, that sort of stuff, good determination, good influence as well. Flair's one, so that tells you the sort of player you're getting. Yeah. But the next one, we're going to go to the squad view. I'm pretty sure he's at Manchester City. Was he at Manchester City at this point? If he's not, maybe is he back at Forest? I'm pretty sure he's on the game. Let's have a look. I thought he was at Man City or Forest. He's not going to be at Liverpool. Oh, is he at Liverpool? He was at Man City. I just didn't see him. So, Mansfield manager, Nigel Clough. Good player in his own right, but as a manager, it's had a bit of a tough time. He's got a big name to live up to. But here he is at Manchester City in 1997, 31 years old, 14 caps. Wouldn't be adding to them anytime soon. A lot of it is obviously a bit based on the back of his name, but he was a good player. He was a decent player. Played for like Liverpool, played for Forest, Liverpool, Man City, England, of course. So yeah, Nigel Clough, Mansfield manager. Okay, up next, as I do a misspell, is Chris Walder, current Middlesbrough manager. I didn't really know much about him until his antics at Sheffield United with the overlapping centre-backs and all that became into play, but he was a right-back in the Premier League with Bradford. I assume he was still when they got there. Obviously, they're a year or two away from that. I think they go up this season, maybe. Obviously, got to the Premier League. Suffered a bit of a second season syndrome with Sheffield United. Got relegated. Got sacked. Didn't get them back up. Wasn't looking like getting them back up. I think he was there to get them back up, but it wasn't going well. But at the time of research and recording, he's just knocked Spurs out of the FA Cup a couple of days ago. But here he is as a right back. Good tackling. Decent pace. Yeah, good pace, in fact. Very fast. Good determination, aggression, quite a lot of attributes you'd want in a defender. He's a bit older now, so he's not young, but good positioning. Yeah, very good attributes for a right back. If you're a team that's maybe not a Man United and Arsenal, Newcastle, at this point in time, he'll do a job in the Premier League for a lower mid to lower sort of right back Premier League team maybe, or higher end Division 1 team. So yeah, very good option there for him. Now, this guy, he's either at Derby or Birmingham. And I can't remember which way it goes. Where is he? Doesn't look like it's Birmingham, so it must be Derby. I remember him in the sticker books. Is he here? There he is. Gary Rowett. So, decent run with Birmingham and Derby in the 90s, as we just mentioned. Played for them. Not the best attributes on here, even for a young player. Probably best to avoid. If you're at Derby, maybe could do a job, but Derby at this point are still a Premier League team. He's not a Premier League player, but he's now manager of Millwall, trying to get them, trying to keep them in the Championship, or they were towards the top end at one point, but I think they slipped down. I can never keep up with Millwall and what they're doing. When I think they're doing well, I look at the table and they're struggling. And then when I think, oh, they've lost a few, they're struggling, they're like fourth or something. So, yeah, I've got a cousin who's a Millwall supporter, so I used to have a bit of banter with her about it. But that's because her dad was. I don't think... Actually, she grew up in East London as well, so it is a local team. So it's not just it's a strange team to support for glory reasons, because the best they've had, I remember, is, what was it, in 2004 FA Cup final, getting smashed by Man United when... was it Dennis Wise was playing for him. Right, we'll go to the squad view because it's quicker. I think he's at Sheffield United by this point. Is he still at Man City? Maybe he's still at Man City. Where is he? Okay, I'm going to do a play search, and I bet you he's at Man City or Sheffield United, and I'm just completely missing him. I'm pretty sure he's at one of the two. I don't remember. Oh, is he Wolves? Is it Wolves? Wolves, Keith Curle. Okay, so yeah, Keith Curle, great defender in the Premier League throughout the 90s, mostly for Man City, Sheffield United in Division 1 as well, obviously Wolves. Management career has largely been spent in the lower leagues, now at Oldham, who are in sort of some weird ownership. There's a video on my phone I'm waiting to watch what's going on at. I think it's an HITC 7s or a TIFO video. I can't remember which one, but it's what's going on at Oldham basically, and I'm just waiting to watch that one because I think there's just some mad ownership going on there, stuff like that. But fantastic defender, a bit slow now because he's 33. 3 caps for England, which I wasn't aware of. 20 tackling, 17 positioning, 15 heading. If you manage Wolves, you keep him around for a year or so. Determination 20. He'll do you a job. If you're a lower level, I probably wouldn't pay £500,000 for him, nearly £1 million for him at 33. But yeah, he's very good. For that level, certainly for a 33-year-old, he's going to do a solid job. And we are looking for Paul Heckingbottom. So, yeah, Sunderland 97, 19-year-old left-back. He's had a few stints of management with Leeds and Hibs. He's now manager of Sheffield United. I think they've had a few changes since Walder left. I can't remember who replaced him, but I don't think it was Heckingbottom. I think there's been at least one or two since. But he's not got the best pace, but he's got some other okay attributes. For a 19-year-old, certainly the backup might do okay. But Sunderland, you've got to remember again, Premier League level team back in 1997. He's not going to be good enough for that. They've got him listed for loan. I'd probably be looking at freeing him. He'll probably cost about 8k to free, probably, as a guess. And get someone else in because, yeah, he's just not very good. We are going back to Bradford. Obviously, we looked at someone a moment ago. We're going to look at Darren Moore. He's now manager of Sheffield Wednesday. Solid defender. Played in the Premier League with Bradford. I think he was still at Bradford when they got promoted. Went to Portsmouth. I think was part of the team that got them up or went to them when they came up. I can't remember. A few stints as manager. West Brom notably. I think he took over, kept them up. And then I think got the gig the next season and it didn't quite go to plan. I think he's had one or two other jobs. But his main job now is to try and revive Sheffield Wednesday. Again, don't think it's going the best. 23 years old, not the best pace, but he's got good heading, good tackling. Good positioning, decent determination. A lot of stuff that you'd like as a centre-back. Maybe at 23, maybe could be a bit better. But I think if you're a lower level or mid-level Championship, the Division 1 club might do a job. But yeah, Darren Moore, Sheffield Wednesday manager. We've got a few more to sort of pelt through here. So let's see. We need to go to Coventry now, I believe, for the next guy. And it's, if he's here, right, I'm not seeing him either. Now, when I said I've researched this, I've researched basically where the players were. A lot of them I know were in the game because I've seen them. Some of them, like I say, I've seen at other places. Now, I don't think this is the guy. I don't think this is him. It is him. Okay, he's 28. I didn't realise he was that old now. But yeah, some of them I remember for 0102, some of them I remember seeing in game. Some of them I'm just gone, well, Wikipedia says he played for them in 97, 98, so I'm just sort of having a quick look. But in 97, Michael O'Neill could be found at Coventry. He had a good old stint from about 2010 as Northern Ireland manager. Did he get them to a tournament? Was he in charge when Will Grigg was involved? I can't remember exactly. But he was doing what we were trying to do in our lockdown challenge, getting Northern Ireland to a tournament. We did it. I think he did it. We did it earlier. But he's now Stoke manager following that stint of Northern Ireland. Didn't realise he was 28 in 1997. I didn't think he was that old now. 31 caps, 4 goals. I'm sure he played for someone else. Did he play for like Wimbledon or someone as well? I'm not too sure. But yeah, that's him anyway. He's on a free transfer in the game, so it might be a decent pickup. If you want to get him in, 28 years old. Now, I don't know if this guy's going to be on here. He's not. Lee Johnson, Sunderland manager's not on there. His dad probably is. Probably at Yeovil. Is it Gary Johnson, isn't it? A Yeovil even on here? Yeovil ain't even on here. So I doubt he's going to be on here. He's probably on his non-league there. Non-league, Yeovil, unknown. Yeah, not surprised. The next one I know is on here. The team, he exists. The team doesn't. It is Wimbledon, of course. Very sad demise what happened to them. They're now AFC Wimbledon. They're back in Wimbledon. They're about 10 minutes from where they used to be. Well, not even that. About a 5-minute walk from where they used to be. And about a 10-minute walk from my mum and dad's house. I haven't been to that stadium yet to see a game. It is on the bucket list. Pandemic and stuff has kind of paid for me to go into any kind of live sports football. We're just trying to keep our daughter safe and obviously ourselves safe. Now, I'm saying he's definitely on here. I can't see him. Now, I'm pretty sure he signed for them this season. Did he sign from Luton? Alright, he didn't. Was it Wickham? Because he's now managing Wickham. Now, I'm fairly certain he's on this game. I'm pretty sure he's on this game, and I'm pretty sure he's at Wimbledon. He's at Port Vale. Right, okay. Did Wimbledon sign him from Port Vale? They must have done, and I'm pretty sure it happened this season. It says he's just gone to Port Vale now, but I'm pretty sure he's at Wimbledon in 97. So he's been talking about Wimbledon, and, me being spitting distance from Plough Lane growing up, breaking into Plough Lane when it was shut and playing football on the pitch. I've talked about that before. They were good days. The one and only time I think I've played on a proper football pitch in a football stadium. Bit overgrown, but yeah. But a winger who arrived at Wimbledon, they were starting to stutter, is at Port Vale here. He's got Wickham to the Championship last year got relegated. He'll be trying to get them back there soon. I'm pretty sure they got relegated. Akinfenwa were leading the line. But yeah, he'll be trying to do that again. I'm pretty sure they're on course for promotion again. I think they are. I haven't seen too much League 1 football and League 2 football this year, so I'm not 100% sure. But I'm sure the way he had them playing before, I think they started off very badly in the Championship. Because I remember in Super 6, whenever they came up, it was like, yeah, just put them as a 2-0 loss, put them as a 3-0 loss. But they did kind of start to get a bit of momentum later in the season. And obviously I kept a bit of an eye on them when Proudy was doing his save with them as well. Gareth Ainsworth did a bit better job than Proudy, of course. But we're going to go over to Birmingham for the next guy. And it's Steve Bruce, who I think is a key player for them. He's not manager yet. I think he would go on to become their player manager. Now manager of West Brom, of course. Again, there's not many clubs in the football pyramid he hasn't managed. But he's fresh from the sack at Newcastle at the moment. And retirement, I think he's pretty much set on retirement. But he's now at West Brom. In this game, he does tend to go and become a player manager than a manager. I think quite often at Birmingham, I've seen it happen a few times. But he's a centre-back at Birmingham, having just left Man United, 36 years old. I think on the back of he's on his second season, but on the back of a 95-96. Definitely a league title for Man United. Actually, was that the Blackburn season? No, I'm pretty sure it was the yeah. But of course, back in the 1991, he got 13 goals that season. That's remarkable. He didn't barely get 13 the rest of his career. But yeah, he played for Newcastle, I think. I thought he'd come through at Newcastle, but he played for Gillingham, Norwich. I thought he played for Newcastle. I know he's definitely a Geordie, because getting the Newcastle job was such a big thing for him. But I think that's us done with England now. So we can take a look at Serie A. So what we'll do, I think most of these are based. We're going to search, because I think a lot of these are based there. But this guy I'm starting with, in particular, he's at Sampdoria. I think he's played for Parma, Lazio. I didn't know exactly where he was in 97. But legendary free kick taker. Like I mentioned, had spells at Parma. I think he was at Lazio. Great free kick taker. His set piece is 20 on this as well. But also just a very solid player. I think he was more like a left-back, centre-back, but can play midfield as well. Lots of good attributes there. Never got the most out of him. He's 28 in this game, so to pay $3.5 million on him is a bit of a risk anyway. But I've never been someone like Sampdoria either, so might be an idea for a save. Try and rejuvenate Sampdoria. They've got some fantastic players. It might be quite a fun save actually. They got Signori in there. They got Veron in there, Montella, Mihailovic, like we mentioned. They might be quite a fun save. that might be an idea of something I do. I might add it to the list of someone I want to do as a save. So it gives me an excuse to go out and buy that 90s Sampdoria shirt as well. Absolutely amazing. I had a comment on one of my videos recently about it, and I was just like, yeah. I remember watching Sampdoria in the 90s on like the Channel 4 programme, and I remember Arsenal playing them in like the Cup Winners' Cup quarters or semis, I think it was. Semis it may have been. Yeah, great kit. Lovely kit. But anyway, we are going to look for this guy because I know he's at a club. I think it's Piacenza Padova. I knew it was a P. They're in Serie B. It's Massimiliano Allegri. Great manager at Juventus. He's in his second spot now. But his playing career was sort of fairly average, really. Didn't play for too many big teams. A lot of lower level Italian teams. But coach-wise, amazing. He's won titles with Milan, multiple with Juventus. Back at Juventus for a second spell. Not really going to plan, I don't think. But the team kind of fell apart in his absence, obviously with Pirlo and stuff like that. And obviously they've just lost Ronaldo, which was a lot of goals for them. Not that he's showing that at Man United particularly, but yeah. Anyway, that's Allegri. We didn't actually look at him that much. Let's go and have a look at him, see what he's like. If you want to sign him, because we're looking at that as well. So he's a right attacking midfielder, right winger. Bit slow for that, really. Can't really dribble. No real creativity. Decent passer of the ball. Quite strong. Yeah, probably avoid. There's probably better options. That was worth going back for, wasn't it? But the next one is not Filippo Inzaghi. It's his younger brother, Simone Inzaghi. Now, he started his career at Piacenza here before getting a move to Lazio. He was a fairly average striker, really. Definitely overshadowed by his more successful brother. I can't remember. It's a bit of a fun fact. I mean, fun fact for me, not really for you necessarily, but I can't remember which game it was. I think it was CM3 or which one of them. When it first came out, I used to always buy them on release day once I had a PC. So it wasn't 97, 98. It was definitely one of the ones after. I think it was the blue box one. I think it was CM3. And he was the very first player I signed when I just loaded up a Man United save just to get used to the game. I used to do that quite a lot. Arsenal, Man United. Arsenal because it's my team, and Man United just because they have some good players. Just to get used to the game, get used to the engine, stuff like that. And he was the first player I signed. I don't know why. He wasn't particularly good. He had some good attributes, I suppose. Man United didn't particularly need a striker. But when I bought him, it didn't work out. But not a day goes by where I don't think about it in the style of Tim from The Office. But here he is. He's at Piacenza. He's currently Inter Milan manager. He's managed, I think, a few... Did he manage Milan as well? He's managed a few clubs in Italy, I think. Lazio, maybe I'm thinking of. But very average attributes here, even for a 21-year-old. Yeah, he's been to Carpi Novara, back to Piacenza. 3 goals in 23 games. For 1.1 million, you can definitely do better than that. I'm set myself up as a Cambridge United player, manager. Grab some of their strikers for cheaper than that. Be much better, much better value for money, I would say. So the game just wigged out a little bit there. I'm not quite sure how much of what I said it caught or where it caught it, but we were just winding up on Simone Inzaghi just in case it didn't grab what I needed. But the next one is a manager again, so we can't see too much, but it's Luciano Spaletti, current Napoli manager, trying to get them back into the run to be a title-winning team. Haven't won it since the late 80s, early 90s. Come close a few years, become a bit of a big team in Italy, sort of one of those top 4 or 5 teams in Italy over the last sort of decade or so. Some great players sort of passing through. But I know Luciano Spalletti more for his sort of spells at Roma, Zenit, St. Petersburg. I think he had Hulk at Zenit, that sort of thing. But he's having a crack at getting Napoli back, like I said, for a contender for Serie A. But in 97, he's already manager here at Empoli. Can't see much about him, so we don't really know much else about him at the time. I don't really see anything he does in game. I can't say I've ever seen him take a big job or something, but I wouldn't remember every save I've played. So maybe he has. Maybe he's got an England job or Man United job at some point. I'm looking at Verona. I don't know why. I want to go to Juventus. I'm pretty sure he's here. Is he not here yet? I think he signs this season, so maybe on this patch of the game he hasn't signed yet, or maybe it hadn't quite gone through, something like that. Is he going to be even on the game then? He's not. Okay, so Igor Tudor, great centre-back for Juventus, current Verona manager. But yeah, we'll move on. So this guy we do have to search for because his name's spelt incorrectly. So it's Andrei Sevchenko, current Genoa manager, of course, former Ukraine manager. I mean, obviously, depending when this video goes out, I don't know exactly what will be happening when this goes out, but sad to see what's happening in Ukraine at the moment, and I'm sure he'll be feeling it as much as anything as well. But this was in 1997, just before he blew up for Dynamo Kiev, including against my Arsenal team in the Champions League. He went on a bit of a run. We went on to sign Oleg Luzhny on the back of that game. I don't know why, but then at the same time Spurs went on to sign Rebrov, so swings and roundabouts. He was misspelt in this game. He's a bit of a random player, whether he's any good. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't. His pace isn't reflective of him. His shooting is. I don't know if he's any good. I did also manage AC Milan on the version of the game. I can't remember which version it is again. It might be CM3 again. There's a version of the game where he's still at Kiev, but he's got a future transfer set to AC Milan. I have managed AC Milan to use him, or signed as AC Milan to release him from that transfer and sign him for someone else. Absolutely immense from that moment on. Immense in that game. Yeah, Andrei Shevchenko anyway. But anyway, that's us done with Italy. That's all the Italy managers that I can think of or been able to find. We're going to move over to the Bundesliga now. So I do need to load up a new file. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, I've got one of the files loaded up. Now this one, Bundesliga, they do have a lot of managers that carry across lots of different files. So you'll probably seen them, the old back screen of the DOS box pop up there. There's not a huge amount here. There's only 2 in Germany and there's 1 in Holland. So I'm going to have to, sort of flip over for that one as well. So the first one, in fact, I'll see if I can. He's a big enough player, he might just be on the game. Also, I might not even need to. So the first one, he's not on there, is he? Maybe he wasn't quite big enough back in those days. No, he's not. He's not there, is he? No, because he wasn't at a big club then in Holland. So we'll stick with what we know. So we're going to go with Hertha Berlin first of all. It should be here. Where's Hertha Berlin? Is it just Berlin? Yeah, Hertha, there we go. So the first one is Paul Dardai. He is most known for his spell at Hertha Berlin as a player, where he started, I think, the season before this. This was his first season, I think. I know I'm not believing that necessarily as a stat, because German updates on this game are very poor. But he played there until 2013. I think a couple of loans in between or something. But 2011, not 2013. And then he took over as manager in 2015, and he's now in his second spell as manager. Not a bad centre midfielder for a 21-year-old. Decent tackling, decent stamina, good shooting, passing position. I've never used him, but I am quite intrigued, in all honesty. I don't know why. Determination's low. 150k. I mean, I don't know if he's on a lot of the leagues I load, unless you load Germany. And I very rarely load Germany. Brian Roy is at Hertha Berlin. Is that where he went off to Forest? Yeah, didn't know that. But yeah, so German leagues, sort of Kittel Reckdale. I like Kittel Reckdale. German league kind of piqued my interest as well for another save. I know part of the Lockdown Challenge 2 features Germany, so maybe I'll save it for that. Now the next one is Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now this guy is a player I signed, I think. Okay, he's not showing us here. Did I sign him on a free transfer, maybe? Now, I signed him for Salamanca, I'm pretty sure, in the Lockdown Challenge. Okay, he's at Leipzig. He's not at Mönchengladbach. I don't know why I had that written down. My notes do say he was at VfB Leipzig, so I don't know why I didn't look. But he's now manager of Dortmund. He was previously manager of Mönchengladbach. But I did sign him as a left back before I went to using no left backs. So he rotted. I think it was at Fulham or Salamanca. I can't remember which. But yeah, we ended up selling him back to someone. We didn't make any money. We lost money obviously on the deal. But I'm pretty sure he's also graduated through the Red Bull kind of model of management as well. So I think he's been at Salzburg. I think it was Salzburg he went to. Then he's gone to Mönchengladbach. Now he's at Dortmund, sort of trying to carry that across as well. So that's it for this file for Germany. We are just going to quickly pop over to the other file. Bear with me one moment. Okay, here we go. So we're going to look at the final player for the Bundesliga. He would find himself in Dutch football at Fortuna Sittard, I believe. He's down as a midfielder striker. Never knew him as a striker, only as a defensive midfielder, really. Current Wolfsburg manager Mark van Bommel. And distinguished career with PSV, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Milan, obviously with Holland as well. In 1997, he's still at Fortuna Sittard, just making his way, 20 years old. I think his father-in-law was manager of Holland. I can't remember his name. So I'm pretty sure that cemented him a place in the Dutch team. Don't get me wrong, he was good enough to be there anyway. But even when he was maybe a bit too old to be there, he was still there. So that winds up the Bundesliga. So we're going to go in Liga. So this is the Dutch. So he's he's in JF in Japan. I didn't realise they were Japan. I thought they were a Dutch team. But he's showing up because he is Dutch. Peter Bos, currently on manager. Most known for a spell at Feyenoord, career-wise, where he left just before this game. I think it's not going to show it in his history. But he's managed Ajax, Dortmund, Leverkusen. Now he's at Lyon in France, and they've obviously just lost one of their best players to Barcelona. Can't remember his name. The Dutch guy up front played Man United, played on the wing for Man United. Can't remember his name. He's doing so well at Barcelona. I've forgotten his name. But yeah, that would be Peter Bos. Do we have the French league open? We do, so we can head. In fact, that doesn't help me, does it? We've got the German league open. No, we haven't. Okay, so we need to open. In fact, I'm going to see if any of these work. Okay, so we can do this one. So we've got Pochettino. He's at Espanyol. He's played for teams such as Espanyol, PSG, where he's now manager following the sacking at Spurs. He's also managed Espanyol, Southampton, Tottenham. Currently linked with Man United for the next season. But he's also the man that contrived to fail to win the league with PSG last year. I mean, that's a bit of a disgrace, really, considering the riches you've got at disposal and the sort of relative ease that league is normally won. But he can be found in the game at Espanyol, decent centre-back. He does have caps for Argentina, despite what the game says. Yeah, you can pick him up at how much for, roughly? About 3 million. Not the worst. He's 25. He's still got a good sort of 6, 7, 8 years in him. So, yeah, obviously, if you can get that foreign spot in your team, he's worth a go. Now, let's see if we can grab the last one in here. No, we are going to have to go over back to the German league. So, bear with me one moment. Okay, we're back in the German league, and here we can look for, I think it's Bayer Leverkusen. Are they on here as Bayer, or are they just Leverkusen? Leverkusen. Is he here? Niko Kovac. There we go. So he is now manager of Monaco in the French league. Very good defender at the time. Bayern Leverkusen obviously would have a couple of Champions League finals. He's a midfielder actually. His brother Robert was the defender. I think he went to Bayern a bit. He went to Bayern as well, I think, but went before. Obviously the Leverkusen team got dismantled. He's now manager of Monaco, who we know all about from our lockdown challenger course, where we had our own 3-year spell with them. But yeah, Niko Kovac, and that rounds up the French league. So what we do need to do now, we're going to look at some international managers, and I think largely we need to go back to, okay, we've got one here in Portugal, I believe. So let's have a look. Firstly, here he is. He's at Boa Vista. Russell Latape. Trinidad and Tobago striker, currently manager of Barbados. He is Trinidadian. Best known probably in the UK for spells at Hibs and Rangers. I think he was part of the McLeish Advocar kind of era at Rangers. Boa Vista 97, following a stint at Porto, but he is now, like we say, manager of Barbados. Don't know much about him other than that, but that sort of thing winds up what we can do on this save. Okay, these 3 leagues have England, Spain and Italy, so this is a large bulk of them. So if we go first of all to Aston Villa, bear in mind we're looking at international management. We've got, of course, Gareth Southgate. Started at Palace, but on game can be found at Villa. He'd also played for Middlesbrough before managing them and getting them relegated, but he has now become the closest manager sort of to replicate sort of the 1966 team. He's got to a semi-final at a World Cup, a final in the Euros, losing dramatically to Italy on penalties. Mancini, who we'll see in a minute, of course. He did also miss a penalty in the semi-Euro 96 against Germany, and featured in many sort of Pizza Hut adverts and stuff after that. But now more known for leading England to being a very good team and sort of realising potential, and those waistcoats, of course. But yeah, that's England. The next one, we're going to take a trip, weirdly, over to second division Wigan, sorry. And we've got Roberto Martinez now, bizarrely in the late 90s. Wigan had a bit of a Spanish feel contingent. I think at one point they had 3 or 4 Spanish players in them. I managed them on one of the older versions when I was in one of my old jobs. I used to just play it, went through, God knows how many, probably got about 15 seasons in, probably got quite close to, maybe even close to ending the game, I can't remember, got them to the Premier League, was just getting them to success, and it got a bit boring, so I stopped. And then I think I moved job as well. But yeah, he'd earned his coaching onlookers at, I don't know why I've written onlookers, that doesn't seem right, but you know, his reputation at Swansea before he moved to Wigan, and then Everton, or the other way around. Can't remember which way around. Wigan then Everton, I think. He's now the golden generation of Belgium at his hands, but really flattering to deceive. But yeah, Belgium manager Roberto Martinez. Again, a decent midfielder if you can pick him up for sort of 300k. He's 24 years old. He'll do a decent job for most people. We're going to move now across from Wigan to West London with Chelsea, and we've got Steve Clarke, Scotland manager, former Chelsea defender. That's where he is now. Wouldn't worth picking him up. He's old, he's slow, he's not that good. I've never got much out of him. Plus he's a fullback. A lot of good formations on CM 97-98. Don't require fullbacks. He's basically been an assistant manager apart from a bit of a failed spell at West Brom. Was always a very good coach, good assistant. And was always felt like he could make that leap up to manager. It never quite worked. But he's now manager of Scotland, hoping to get into another tournament. I think he got to the last Euros. But the next guy, we're sticking in, I say London, more Hertfordshire, but we're going to go over to Watford, and it's a CM 97-98 legend. Don't need to say too much. It's Robert Page. Now, I don't know if he's officially Wales manager or if he's just still temporary. Obviously, Ryan Giggs, who we can have a look at as well, was the manager before the Euros. I think there's still a pending court case going on or something, but Robert Page, it's worth having a look at him. Always recommend picking him up. Big club release clause? Yep. 2.9, and he wants to move. He's a very, very good centre-back who'll do you for years, and he's probably another one I should have looked at Monaco, but I think he was just a little bit rich. He'd already moved around and stuff. But we'll have a quick look at Ryan Giggs as well, just in case you need to know who he is. But he's out for a month, 23 years old, fantastic player. You'll struggle to pick him up, in all honesty. He doesn't often move. Now, next up is actually a player who sort of came to a bit of prominence in our lockdown challenge save. He went to Man United, he started at Arsenal, and it was Jamie Day. If he's here, yeah. Centre midfielder, 17 years old. He does round out quite often into a very good player in the game. Young player here, can go on to be really good, can be a bit hit and miss. Obviously, in real life, it didn't really happen for him. But in a lockdown challenge, like I said, he went to Man United, had a very good run. Got in England team, I think, as well. But he's now manager Bangladesh. Now, I don't know if there's any Bangladesh blood there, or bloodlines, or family, or anything, but he's manager of Bangladesh. Yeah. Don't know how they're doing. Haven't really heard of them doing much. But from Bangladesh to India now, we're going to go across to Derby, where we find Igor Stimac, Croatian. He's now manager of India. Very good centre-back, some good attributes in there, a lot of 20s. It's either 20s or 1s and 2s, basically, not much in the middle. But he's a very good defender, 29 years old now, but 4.5, willing to move. He can do a good job. Have used him a couple of times. You just have to get around that foreign spot rule with him, really. But yeah, manager of India. Now, the next one is, I think he's at Wolves. He is at Wolves, not Glenn Crowe. It's Mixu Patalainen. Now, the striker best known in England for spells, probably at Bolton, but a little bit at Wolves. He's Finnish, but he's not finished. He's only 30 in the game in 1997. He's now manager of Hong Kong, bizarrely, but I mean, really, I say he's not finished. He kind of is. He's a bit of a good heading, no off the ball, no pace. Shooting's 14, that's not too bad. 15 positioning. If you've got that sort of direct football, maybe he'll work, but he hasn't got the off the ball, which is probably more as much as important as anything. Spells in Scotland as well, which I'm about to say I wasn't aware of, but I was going to say Motherwell rather than those ones. I thought he was at Motherwell. Maybe that was after. I'm not too sure. I vaguely remember Motherwell being in his career. Maybe in 0102, maybe he's at Motherwell. Maybe I'm completely wrong altogether. But anyway, Mixu Patalainen, yeah, Hong Kong manager. Next up, we're going to go for another coffee break, and we're going to go and find... Where is he? Is he here? He should be there, but maybe... is he at Portsmouth? If he's not at Portsmouth, I'm going to go looking for him. No, I'm going to have to go looking for him. Oh, is he Stoke? It might be Stoke. In fact, did I click on him somewhere a minute ago? No, it's Glenn Crowe. Carl Upbourne. He's on a free transfer, so he's Bermudan nationality. He is Bermuda manager. Fairly average lower league player in England. He got a move to Coventry in '97, and they just released him. In fact, no, from Walsall. He scored some goals for Walsall, but he did go to Coventry. I don't think he ever really made it there. But he's now manager of Bermuda in the Caribbean. Caribbean? No, they're just off America, aren't they? Oh, well, that is Caribbean, I suppose, as well. I don't know if Bermuda's Caribbean, but I'm more aware of Sean Goater as Bermudan. Didn't know Cole Lightman was. Didn't know he was their manager until, researching this. But yeah, he is. Next up, I can feel my throat going again. What's going on? Just talking too long. This is quite a long video, to be fair. But next up, we've got Didier Deschamps. French legend, French captain for the World Cup 98 winning team. Decent manager too. He's had some good spells. I think Bordeaux springs to mind. PSG maybe, not too sure. But he's a successful France manager. I think he was the manager that won the World Cup or Euros. 2018 World Cup maybe. Yeah, I think it was. Was that them that won the 2018 World Cup? I think it was. But he'd be one of the... Was that Euros even? I can't remember. He won something. But in 97 he would be one of the best teams in Europe, Juventus. Would obviously eventually go on to spells at Chelsea. I think he retired at Chelsea, in actual fact. This next one, I think we mentioned him. We looked at him, I think. No, he's not at Sampdoria. Is he at Leicester? He's not at Leicester. Is he at Lazio? He's at Lazio. Okay. So it's Roberto Mancini. Legendary footballer, smartly dressed manager. Best known, I think, for Sampdoria, I would say, through the 90s. Yeah, of course he is. He also had a stint at the end of his career with Leicester, like we mentioned, where we were looking for him. Does a good job in his management. Took him to the riches of Manchester City. Probably had to rebuild his reputation a little bit after that, but he's now at Italy. Just won the Euros on penalties against England. Again, a bit slow on this one, but decent off the ball. Yeah, it's not the greatest heading. Decent shooting. I think I signed for Man United on either this game or the one before it, when I used to play at my friend's house before I had a PC. It didn't work, but that was probably me as much as anything. And I've got this guy written as down as being in Italy, but I don't think he is. I might have to go to the German league. Now, yeah, okay, he's at Bielefeld in Germany, but he has shown up. Stefan Kuntz. I'm going to say it like that rather than how it should be said from how it's spelt. But obviously starred the Three Lions video in 1998. Fairly average player. Part of a team that won the U96. So I mean, he's got that under his belt. Now manager of Turkey. Bizarrely, I don't know if there's any Turkish connection there. I know he's got his name suggests he's got some Polish connection potentially. I'm not too sure. But again, look at his stats. 34 years old. I wouldn't be wasting my time picking him up. Certainly not for £750,000. He's got a good return in his career, but yeah, I don't think I'd be spending the money on that. If we've got Spain open, which I think we have, we can go to Celta Vigo, and we're going to look at the current Russian manager, which is Valery Karpin. I used to love watching Celta Vigo on the Revista de la Liga programme on Sky. Them and Deportivo with Rivaldo. He's now manager of his home nation, though for what games I don't really know at the moment, because Russia are looking like they're getting banned and kicked out of everything, rightly so, for that conflict with Ukraine. But great player. Not many of the Russian players and staff have come out and said much about what's going on. So I was going to say, it's not necessarily their fault and all that, but they're not helping themselves. And I know the captain Zuba has just been slated by some Ukrainian players and the press, and his statement is tone deaf as well. His reply is tone deaf. But Holland manager currently is Louis van Gaal. Now, manager of the famous 1995 Ajax team, went to Barcelona where he is now. He'll be there for a good few years. He also managed Holland twice, I think. He's managed Bayern Munich, Man United, of course. Big name manager. Probably. No, he's doing well at Holland, to be fair. I was going to say a bit more of a joke now than what his career suggests. But yeah, not much more to say on him, really. A lot of these now, I think, are managers in the game. So we're going to take a little trip over to Valencia, I believe. No, that's Ranieri. Okay. I thought Hector Cooper. Okay, I don't know where he's manager then. I'm pretty sure he is somewhere in the game. Bear with me one moment. Okay, he is in the game. I got the wrong team. It's Mallorca. I'm pretty sure I've seen his name sort of float around a few times. He gets jobs. Hector Cooper, obviously start of the century, he's a very successful manager of Valencia. Got them to a few finals, into Milan as well. The last few years he's sort of been an international manager, but with largely smaller nations. Now he's at the Democratic Republic of Congo. I don't know if they were in the African Cup of Nations just gone, or how well they did if they were there, but that's where he is. Now, from Spain manager, I believe, in 97, 1998, to now Libya manager, Javier Clemente. In-game, this is the name you put in if you want to become the Spanish manager from the off. Game changer for out in the 90s when you could be like England with Glenn Hoddle and all that lot, and Ireland with Mick McCarthy and blah, blah, blah. Lots of different jobs before taking the Libya job in 2021. But yeah, Javier Clemente, I had no idea he was even still going, in all honesty. We mentioned we were going to take a trip over to Valencia. We are now for a player, in actual fact, and it's Jocelyn Anglomar. Played for France, but he is from a former French colony of Guadeloupe, where he is now the manager of Guadeloupe. In 97, he was a marauding right back, just signed from Inter Milan. I remember him on like the Play by Mail. I think I had him in my team. That's where I knew him from. And I've obviously had Inter Milan on the previous Serie A version of the game as well. He did a good job. 2.5, he's unavailable because he's just signed. In fact, he says he's just signed from Torino. I thought he signed from Inter Milan. In fact, there's a bit of a gap there between Torino and Valencia. That must be where he was at Inter Milan. It must be. I'm certain he was at Inter Milan. I had him at Inter Milan. I'm sure he was. Anyway, next up, I'm going to have to search this guy. I've got him down on my Spain list, but I don't think he is. I think he's in the Portuguese league. Okay, so the first one, I've got him down as being in the French league. I think he might actually be still in the Spanish league, so I might have messed up, unless he's at Strasbourg. Where is Strasbourg? Here he is. No, he's at Strasbourg. Corentin Martins. He is the current Mauritania manager. I've probably slaughtered that name. But yeah, he's at Strasbourg. Mostly an assistant at club level, but he is now manager of Mauritania. Obviously gone for a lower level international team to become the actual boss. Decent player, but his stats don't really sort of back that up, really. I vaguely remember him being a better player than his stats suggest. I think he went off to Italy. Did he go to like Parma or someone? Or was it Parma? I think 102 maybe he's at Parma. But yeah, anyway. If we go over to PSV now, their manager in 97-98 was Dick Advocar. He's now the manager of Iraq. He's a decorated manager, really. He includes spells manager of Rangers, among others. I mean, did he mention England? I think he mentioned Sunderland and England as well. Not decorated for that, but yeah, he's manager of PSV in 97, which is a good job in its own right. He's now manager of the Iraq national team. And again, if we go to where do we need to go to? Holland. I mean, it should be Netherlands. Yeah, Holland, Netherlands. The actual current manager here now is Gus Hiddink. He is now the manager of, I can't pronounce this, Curaçao. It's the one spelt Curacao. But he's managed big clubs: Real Madrid, Chelsea, Valencia, Holland, South Korea for the home tournament in 2002. He's kind of had various international jobs leading up to now. But at 97, he is the Dutch manager, having not been sacked after a pretty crappy year in 96, getting thumped 4-1 by England, I think going out in the second round. But yeah, he's manager of Curaçao. I had to get that spelled out phonetically just to be able to read it. The next up we have got is the Portuguese one. On this one, it's not, is it? We've done that anyway, so it's not too big a deal. I think we need to go to Groningen for this one. Groningen. Is he here? So now I vaguely remember him being as like Stoke or Huddersfield or someone. Let's have a look. Because he's Dutch, he might be. He's at Ajax already. Okay, I don't remember it being this early. But yeah, he's an Ajax player, wound up at Huddersfield and all places. I think in 97 he should be at Groningen, but maybe the move come through early, I don't know. He's now the national team manager of Suriname. He's got some okay attributes. He does go on to get Dutch caps in the game, I think. He's 26, so it's a bit bizarre, but he does get called up and does forge a bit of a career for himself. But yeah, Dean Gore. I keep flicking up the wrong note page on the recording. Dean Gore is manager of Suriname, and that's where we are. Now, I know this guy's on the game, but I don't know what league you need to do to get him to sort of come up. I think he's at Boca Juniors. He's not showing up. Maybe he's not in the game. I'm sure he's on one of them, but I don't know which league you need to have open. So we'll ignore that for now. Now we've got sort of a recap of some just honourable mentions, managers that aren't at clubs, that sort of stuff. So let's have a look, see if we can find some of them. I don't know where he is in this game. He might already be a manager or out of the game. Yeah, his brother's there. So Ronald Coleman, yeah, can't find him. Yeah, I can't find him. I don't. If he's a manager, I'm not going to have any chance of finding him. Who else we got on here? Okay, I need to open up another file, so bear with me. Okay, yes, as mentioned, this next section is the sort of honourable mentions, players based in the leagues that are managers but maybe just find themselves out of work at the moment. So first we're going to head over to Crystal Palace, Valérien Ismaël. On my notes, he was, I think, West Brom manager or Bristol City manager, something like that. Solid centre-back. He's at Crystal Palace. He rarely gets to September without still being at Palace. He normally gets a move, normally to France. Yeah, solid centre-back. Can do a job at right-back. Very good, but yeah, not a manager anymore. The next one is Notts County. I'm going to try and fly again through these as much as possible. But we've got a fresh face, Sam Allardyce, making his name as manager. Can't see him, can't see too much. He would obviously go on to Bolton and Newcastle, West Ham, various jobs, known for a particular brand of football. Is the most way of saying it, really. And of course, we've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, would be out for 3 months at the start of this season, but 24-year-old, 5 caps and 10 goals. Sacked to Cardiff, sacked to Man United. In 97, he was still very much the babyface assassin, scoring a lot of goals, mostly off the bench. A bit of an impact sub. Kind of coined the phrase impact sub, really. But yeah, great player in his own right. Maybe management isn't for you. I think we're going back to Wolves for this one now. Darren Ferguson. So at the time of recording, he's just been sacked as manager of Peterborough. Son of Sir Alex, of course. By the time of recording and re-editing and uploading, he may well be Peterborough manager again. It's about his 8th stint he's had as Peterborough manager. He seems to go back there a fair bit. So we'll see if that happens again. Next up, we need to head over to Spain now. Again, it's going to be a manager, I think. So probably not going to see too much. But it's Claudia Ranieri. Tinkerman, in 97 he's at Valencia. Would be a few years away from Chelsea. Freshly sacked again by Watford recently. Surely he won't get another job in England, but who knows? He seems to keep getting them. Talk about dining out on one season, really. He's dining out on that Leicester Championship year for a good few years now. But yeah, he's surely done in England now, you would imagine. But I said that after the last job. What was the last one? I can't remember what the last one was. I could just pick a name out and he's probably managed them lately. The next one is Rafael Benitez, Extremadura manager. Before working his magic at Valencia, then winning cups at Liverpool. Before then sort of stuttering at Real Madrid, stuttering at Napoli, stuttering at Inter Milan, I think, as well. Stuttering at Everton. Doing okay at Newcastle, but really just looked good in a shit team. And same for in China as well. But he was cutting his teeth in Extremadura prior to all that. We do have a player now at Tenerife, and it's Slavica Jukanovic. Had a spell with Chelsea in the early noughties, coaching roles at Watford and Fulham. He has been a manager, I think, but here he is at Tenerife as a defensive midfielder. Not too bad, bit slow. Probably cost a bit more than I'd be willing to pay for him, I'd say. Anyone else? Yeah, we've got a Spanish league again. I think he's at Oviedo because I signed him for... No, he's not. Where is... Oh, is he in the Portuguese? I'm going to have to upload another save file. I was hoping not to need to. No, he's at Deportivo. Portuguese goalkeeper, Nuno Espirito Santo. One of the few keepers that really sort of go into management with any kind of sense of achievement. Look away now, Peter Shilton. We had him at Salamanca, of course, on a lockdown challenge. He definitely took our defence up a notch. More well known now for his stint as Wolves manager and probably being 9th choice Spurs manager before getting sacked after about 3 months. Replaced by Antonio Conte, who's probably not far behind in all honesty. We've also got, if we're going to go back to the squad screen, we've got Brescia and we've got Andrea Pirlo as a forward left, of course. Obviously would have gone to become probably one of his generation's greatest playmakers, probably along with Xavi. Spells at Inter Milan from here, then at AC Milan, Juventus. Finishing career in, I think he went to New York City, I think. I vaguely remember having him on FIFA at New York in my ultimate team, doing an MLS team. I used to love playing with Pirlo, despite his pace being like about 4. He would do a good job. Now I'm going to see if I can find some of these, because some of these they're on a different save, but some of them are quite high profile players. So we've got Paulo Sousa. He's at Inter Milan. I've got him down as German, but no, yeah, he would be at Dortmund, having just won the Champions League, but he does sign for Inter Milan. I think at the start of this season, yeah, the stats are missing in Italy. Also featured for Juventus. He's now bizarrely the manager of Flamengo in Brazil. However, he was down as Poland and international management for me on my notes prior to recording, but obviously I found out he's since left that job and gone to Flamengo in Brazil. Weird. Now this guy, he isn't high profile, but I think he should be in the game. Yeah, he is. He's had a career mostly outside of Europe, so probably won't be too familiar with a lot of people unless your German football. But he had a spell at Fortuna Cologne in Germany. He's just left the post as Ghana manager. I don't know if he was manager during the African Cup of Nations and he's been sacked after, or whether it was before the Cup of Nations. I don't know, but he's transfer listed. Fairly solid, all-rounded midfielder. Not particularly excellent at anything, but pretty good at most things. So yeah, he's pretty good. Now we have got a couple of players still in the game as well. Luckily I've got the right file open. I've only found 2 that I'm aware of. So we've got Juno Ijibufon, great goalkeeper. He's at Parma in 97. Who knew he'd still be going in 1997? He's not the best goalkeeper in the game. He's okay. I signed him on the one before this thinking, oh, he's great. But he wasn't. He was okay. He was good as a third choice, I suppose. But this game, it was kind of better. But yeah, started at Parma, went to Juve. Brief, I think, season at PSG, just to try and win the Champions League, one last hurrah. Before he then went back for a second spell at Juventus, and now he's back at a second spell for Parma, his boyhood club. It's a travesty. He never won the Champions League. He won practically everything else there is in football. Amazing goalkeeper, probably the best goalkeeper in my generation. Not my favourite necessarily, but probably the most consistent and most reliable. And yeah, absolutely amazing. Stuck with Juventus when they got docked down to Serie B. Stuck around, came back up with them. Yeah, absolutely fantastic player. Now this last one, I know he's on the game, but I don't know what league you have to load to see him. I'm hoping this one will work because it's got Italy on it, and I think he had a spell at Italy in his history, so that's wrong. He's on there. He's at Verdi. I don't know how he's still going because he's 30 in 1997, right? And he's still going now. I think he's 50 something now. He's just signed a contract. He's now at Suzuka in Japan. I think he's on loan from Yokohama. The stats, it was quite hard to tell because it looks like he's at Yokohama, but he's been on loan at FC Sydney or Sydney FC or someone, and Suzuka. I don't know exactly who owns him. This is according to Wikipedia, of course. But he was still at Verdi, following loan with Genoa in Italy in 1997. 34 goals in 59 caps for Japan. I don't know when his last cap was. It was probably about 2002 or something. Probably not even that. It was probably about 2000. And he's still going. I mean, striker. I don't know how well he's doing with still going. I mean, I wouldn't even probably pick him up now. His pace is slow. Off the ball's good. Heading's terrible. Shooting's decent. Positioning's okay. As a wide forward, no, because he hasn't got the pace. No, I'd avoid. I wouldn't bother unless it was like an experiment video or just I wanted to try something a bit funky. But that is the end of today's video. It's a long one, I know. I was hoping it wasn't going to be this long. Obviously, once I cut out all the switching between files and stuff, I'll probably save myself about half an hour, and various stints of answering the door and stuff. But if you have enjoyed today's video, enjoyed this sort of content, please smash a like down below. Sub to the channel if you're new around here. Ideally, I would have broken this in 2 thinking about it, but or 2 or 3 maybe. But yeah, and I'll be back soon with another new series. Lockdown challenge is winding up. I don't know, like I said at the start, I don't know when this is gonna fit in the schedule, but I'll fit it in somewhere once I've edited it and got it to render, which will probably take about 4 days at this rate with this length of video. But yeah, I will see you next time. Take care. Goodbye.